What's up guys, welcome back to another Brawl Stars video. So Amber has been out for a few days now in the game and she is really good. A lot of people have been talking about how broken she is. So today I wanted to look at her performance in the past couple of days and see if she is actually one of the most broken brawlers to ever be released. So make sure to watch until the end because there's a lot of different factors we have to consider to really get a final say on this and make sure we're not just hyping her up because no one really knows how to defend her. There's a lot of stuff to consider, so let's get into it. So first let's take a look at the global rankings for people who just unlocked Amber. So the highest trophy Amber in the world right now is at 1,405 trophies. And this is actually the second highest trophy brawler in the entire game. The highest one right now is a Jackie who is at 1,500 trophies. But the thing is, if we just look at like the top 10 for both of these brawlers, you can see that on average the Amber players are significantly higher than the Jackie players. It's just that one guy is just really good with Jackie. So these top players are important to consider because this sort of represents the skill cap. If it's a really bad brawler, people aren't going to be able to push her that high. So if we see a lot of people getting her to that high trophy level, that means she's probably got to be a pretty good brawler compared to everyone else. So if we want to look at generally how people are able to push Amber, we can just look at the bottom of this leaderboard, so the 200th person, to see not just the highest Ambers in the world, but how high many different people have been able to push Amber. So after just the few days she's been in the game, the top 200 cutoff globally right now is 1,158, which is really high. That's actually the most in the game right now, and the second most is Sprout's top 200 cutoff, which is only 1,077. So she's already 81 trophies above this, and she's only been in the game for a couple days. So 200 people have been able to push her above 1,158 trophies, which is insane because no other brawler can say that right now. Now obviously there is the fact that she is a new brawler, and new brawlers tend to be played a lot more and have a lot higher rankings and everything simply because she's new, and it's fun to play new brawlers and test out their new mechanics and stuff. But it takes a while to get good with these brawlers, and the fact that only after a few days so many people have pushed her this high really tells you something. So now to sort of corroborate this data, I went to look at some other statistics using the Brawl Time Ninja website. It's a very awesome website. I'll link them in the description. But there are 3 different graphs for Amber that show her use rate, her win rate, and her star player rate. And they calculate this based on the people who visit their site. So in general, these are going to be higher than the average player, but also the people who have Amber are going to be higher than the average player. So I think it sort of balances things out. So first, if we take a look at her use rate graph, we can see that from basically 0 to 800 trophies, her use rate is fairly low compared to the average brawler. And that makes perfect sense because barely anyone has her yet. So if it was near the average, that would be really surprising. And then we can see it goes above the average use rate right at 1,000 trophies, and that makes sense because a lot of the top people are already maxed out, and so they're very likely to have gotten Amber already. So assuming pretty much everyone has Amber, then it makes sense that her use rate is about average or above, and since she's a new brawler, also makes sense why a lot of people are playing her recently. So now the more interesting graphs are when we get into the win rate and the star player rate. So here's the win rate graph, and you can see that the blue line is Amber and that gray dotted line once again is the average. So at basically every trophy range, Amber has a higher win rate than the other brawlers. But like I said, this is to be expected. This sort of happens with every new brawler because the better players are the ones who get them first. So when better players are the only ones playing the brawlers are going to have better results. But for Amber, in that like 200 to 600 trophy range, that difference is so significant that you really can't just chalk it up to her being a new brawler. I can't recall when any other brawler has been above 80% win rate in that trophy range, because right when you get a new brawler at 0 trophies, it's really easy to win because people are not good down at that trophy range, so it's super high win rate there. And then as you get into the medium trophy ranges, the win rate gets really low because that's where like 99.9% of the player base is going to be. And if your brawler is stuck at a specific trophy level, that essentially means the amount of trophies you're gaining is more or less equivalent to the amount of trophies you're losing. And depending on whether or not you gain more trophies for winning or lose more trophies for losing, the win rate is going to fluctuate somewhere near 50%. So that's why the gray dotted line is near 50% for most of it. But then when you get into the really high trophy ranges, because you lose so many trophies for losing and you only gain a couple trophies for winning, you need a ridiculously high win rate to maintain your brawlers at that level. And that's why you see both Amber and the average lines going up towards that 1,000 mark, because they have to be, otherwise you wouldn't have been able to get the brawler to 1,000 in the first place. But even at those high high trophy ranges from like 700 and on, Amber is still pretty significantly above that average line, which indicates that she is just winning more games than other brawlers. Now, once again, this doesn't tell us the whole story, because if there's a match with 2 Ambers in it, then it's guaranteed that an Amber is going to lose that. So it's not like, oh, why doesn't she have an even higher win rate? That would show that she's even more broken. It's that there is a sort of cap to this win rate, because an Amber has to lose at some point if they face another Amber in the game. So moving on to the last graph, this is the star player rate, and this is the one that I think most clearly shows her power level in the game. So the average line hovers between 10% and 20%, because 1 out of every 6 brawlers is going to be the star player in every game. But Amber's line is basically near 40% the entire time for every single trophy range, which means that she's getting star player so many times, which means she is the one carrying the games. She's the one doing the most damage and contributing most to the win condition of that particular game. And the fact that this distance stays the same all the way up to 1,000 trophies, where you can assume that most people probably already have Amber up there, that just shows you that Amber is strong across the board. I think this graph just in particular really shows how overpowered Amber is. I don't think any brawler should be able to carry that much across the board. Like, she hasn't even reached her peak, because people are still learning her mechanics, and this insane star player rate really just shows how good she is only a few days after her release. So make sure to join the 10 squad by subscribing, turning on notifications, and going to your settings and enabling notifications there as well. But that's all for today, guys, so see you later.